public servant or ethics in? So
Yes, sir.
we will do that. And we have discussed yesterday what is public service. Hope everybody
Yes,
remembers.
yes, sir. We are getting salary from government sector. They are the public servant.
And what are the obligations of public officials? Use impartial judgment in the service of all constituents. So it is first and foremost, they have to be impartial. They can't pick and choose. They have to follow the rule and take decisions accordingly. There is no alternative to them. So that is why, we have the problem of, this is the problem. Please switch off your mic if you are doing something else. There is no point in disturbing the class. And ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ସେମାନେ ମ୍ୟୁଟ୍ କରନ୍ତି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ମୌକା ଦେଲା ବେଳକୁ ଟିକେ ରେସ୍ପନ୍ସିବଲି ୟୁଜ୍ କରନ୍ତୁ ତାକୁ. Every time there is distraction like this. Okay. So basically it is about so first and foremost is every public officer or servant has to be impartial. He can't be partial. He can't decide on his own. He has to follow a rule, and as per the rule, whatever comes, he should do that. But it doesn't really mean that you cannot always, you will only follow the rule in letter and letter, not in spirit. Because see, the rule is to decide, make your decision making easy. But there will be some cases where a public servant also has to consider consider with compassion and all, and try to accommodate or see if somebody can be benefited. There are many cases when you talk to any government official who is in, at least who is working at lower level, like BDO, Tahsildar and all, like small examples can be in the villages when you need a identity proof or something like that. You do not really have that. Many people do not have it. People still are ignorant and they do not have the means and facilities to get a proper identity. So it should not be like that, no, because you do not have something, you will not be given. No. That is why if you see even if with Aadhaar and voter ID, government being very strict on that, for every election there is a list of documents which you can use for while to identify yourself while going for voting. So similar, in some cases you have to be very compassion and take your decisions. Then avoid conflicts of interest that could undermine your objective judgment. You should not, conflict of interest in public service is, somebody, you are very close to someone, then you try to bend the rules for them. That is where this conflict of interest generally comes. Don't show favoritism towards family and friends in hiring. That is another. And I don't know if you are aware, nowadays it is very difficult even for anyone to give a job. But earlier, in government services, I know that in offices, because of change of bosses, they were having overstaffs. Many offices have many people. So because, once you give a job to someone, it is very difficult to take their job out in a government sector. So that was the issues, and which has now been streamlined to some extent, because government also now knows that having unnecessary manpower is beyond its capacity to service. Don't solicit or accept bribes from people seeking to influence your official decision. This is one area where India is failing very badly and has been a case of serious concern. And every day in Oriya newspaper, you will be seeing Kotipati Jantri, Kotipati Santri, and so many things that you will be seeing every day. Some people having some lakhs of rupees in cash, in car, in home, in office. You don't know what is what. So, and I knew for certain one peon in RTO 1, Bhubaneswar. I don't know if he is still working or retiring, because when I used to go there for licenses and others and car insurance, which nowadays I don't go, he was there, and I have seen him having a 4-storied house in Bhubaneswar. So that all of us can think or understand how what is the role of bribe and all. Don't invest in property or companies that could be affected by your official decision. That is still again a very big issue, and we have seen many big officers retiring from public servant and joining private companies, and which they have served as an officer and all, or not served as an officer as all, but they have dealt with those companies when they were in service, and with hefty payment, salary and all. And that has been the case in all over India. It is not only limited to Orissa or somewhere, but everywhere it is happening. So these are some of the things. Next, immoral practices in the governance system. It is there. It has been there since time immemorial. Kautilya's Arthashastra mentions number of corrupt practices in which the administration of those times indulged themselves. And Mughal Empire and the Indian princely states were also plagued with unethical practices of the public servants. In the East India Company also, there were employees who were criticized even by the British parliamentarians for being, being corrupt. The forces of probity and immorality coexist in all phases of human history. Any one of them becomes stronger depending on the support they get from politico-administrative system. So, and then because we know for Indians and people like us, corruption is not a very big issue. We are accustomed to that, and most of us are in some way or other corrupt to some extent. I don't know if all of you will agree, but if you go by the strict definition of corruption, you will find most of us coming under that. But there are countries like Singapore, very small countries, no way comparable in size and population to India, but that country survives with no corruption. And there are tremendous examples. It is very difficult to even imagine such things happening in India. Anyone who is aware of system in Singapore? Everybody is mute, or you can speak.
Sir, we don't know, sir, about it.
Okay. So, there is a agency in Singapore. There are private builders and all, they make the flats and housing societies. So there is an agency in Singapore which certifies all the buildings. That's under this Public Works Department. And every flat and housing society checked right from day one for even construction material, for construction quality, everything. And there is nothing like that you will not get a completion certificate, occupancy certificate. In Bhubaneswar, there are many flats, but getting an occupancy certificate is a very big issue, because none of the builders really adhere to the BMC or approval. They have approval from BDA they have got. They generally violate and construct more areas. But in Singapore, that is one. Even I will give you example of hiring domestic helps in Singapore, because a lot of people from Philippines, Indonesia and all, specifically girls and ladies, they come to Singapore to work. And because they get good payment in Singapore, because Singapore is a rich state otherwise. So, there is an agency in that. You have to, there will be a formal application by you to hire someone. You have to give a specification for hiring. Even the housemaid or the domestic help, she will also give her specification of where she wants to work. I once visited one of my known person in Singapore, and they were saying that the girl who they are having, she was cooking excellent Indian food. She was a Indonesian or Philippine something. So one of the requirement was that you must have a DTH Hindi channel so that she can watch some serials and all. So like that, they give. And you have an interview. She will also ask questions. There will be officials present during the discussion. You will also ask questions. She also, that lady, that girl who was working, she gave a specification that I need a room, a separate bathroom and all that. And if you do not have that, you cannot hire her. And the officials will come and visit your house to check whatever she has asked, whether it is really there or not. And the best example thing they were telling me is she was working in another household earlier, which she has left because she didn't like the employer. And she has left and she has come to stay in a common place which is run by the department. Before they took this, my friend and my known people, they took her over. That some payments were pending with the first employer. So the department to pay her was responsible. They went there, they got the money, they came and paid her in their houses. So this is how it works. It is very unthinkable even in Indian condition. Regarding that flats and all, I was telling, on the day you purchase a flat, you go for registration and all that. On the same day, you will get the ownership certificate and the key also. There is no waiting period for you, because none of the flats which are, incomplete is, you can't just sell everything and do that. Adha ho gaya, koi ghus gaya, aisa. There is nothing like that. It has to be done in a systematic way, and that is how they work. You cannot see police in Singapore. You will not see police on the road everywhere. No. There is a rule like, the taxi drivers, there are places on the town where the taxi can stay. They have to wait for some time. So drivers will be running. They can't have a parking station. They cannot park their taxi everywhere and anywhere. They will come, stay there for 4 or 5 minutes or 2 minutes, whatever is given to them, and then they will move on even if they do not get a passenger. They cannot just wait like our city buses, they compete between themselves to block the road to get ahead of one another. So all these are very, very typical things you see in a country like Singapore, and which is totally absent. So these are all because the administration, the public service is at least corruption free. Corruption is not a word in Singapore. They are not accustomed to that. They cannot accept anything. So some Singaporean companies find it difficult to work in Indonesia and Philippines nearby because there is a rampant corruption in Indonesia and Philippines. So that is the difference. So, so in this world where we have a country, where we live in a country like India, Pakistan and all, we still have a country called Singapore, and many countries in Europe. But Europe also, many countries have high-level corruption at the very high level. It is not everyday life you face corruption. But in bigger, but countries like Germany, you do not have much corruption even at the highest political level. International Code of Conduct of Public Officials. That is, there is a code of conduct which generally guides a public officer. A public office, as defined by national law, is a position of trust, implying a duty to act in the public interest. Therefore, the ultimate loyalty of public officials shall be to the public interest. This definition, if you see, is not coming with any compensation things. There is nothing called payment, but that is the general interpretation or general definition for, at least in Indian context. Public officials shall ensure that they perform their duties and functions efficiently, effectively, and with integrity, in accordance with the laws of administrative policies. They shall at all times seek to ensure that public resources are administered in the most effective and efficient manner. Public officials shall be attentive, fair, and impartial in performance of their functions, and in particular in their relations with public. These are all very common things which we all see and we all experience. So there are certain maxims, means guidelines, you can see. So what is that? Maxims of legality and rationality. An administrator will follow the law and rules that are framed to govern and guide various categories of policies and decisions. Maxim of responsibility and accountability. An administrator would not hesitate to accept responsibility for his decision and action. He would be willing to be held accountable to higher authorities of governance and even to the people of his decision and action. You are generally, this has to be, but in our conditions, this accountability is not there. No government official is accountable to the public. They may be accountable to their higher ups, but again, the whole system is so lethargic and you can say in disarray, that accountability really doesn't come out. Maximum of work commitment. An administrator would be committed to his duties and perform his work with involvement, intelligence, and dexterity. Maximum of excellence. A bureaucrat would ensure the highest standards of quality in administrative decisions and action, and would not compromise with standards because of convenience of compliancy. Any one of you have seen the film Millie?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So you have seen the inspector, the one
Yes,
who
sir.
was neglecting his duty, and the other superior who was more active and committed to the job.
Yeah.
So that is how you find many examples in our place. And yesterday I saw a WhatsApp video where our Honorable President was addressing IPS in trainees. And she was telling that till today, we take the name of police to create a atmosphere of fear. So police ଆସିଯିବ ବୋଲି ପିଲାଙ୍କୁ ଡରାଉ ବୋଲି ହେଲେ କହୁଥିଲେ ପିଲେ ନ ଖାଇଲେ ନ ଶୋଇଲେ ସେମିତି anyone, if somebody police has visited somebody's house, his reputation is at stake because ତା ଘରେ police କାହିଁ ଆସିଲା. So that should not be the image of a police, but unfortunately that has been the image of. There may be some police friends in our group, in this group also, but that is unfortunately is the case. Nobody generally would like to approach a police. There seems to be somebody who are not very familiar with and very friendly to the public. I think 10-15 years back, there was a movement in Orissa where many of the signboards will say that be friendly with people. Police was saying that the police force was being asked to be friendly with people. Then another maxim is maxim of fusion. An administrator would reasonably combine the individual, organizational, and social goals in his behavior and work. Maxim of responsiveness and resilience. Responsiveness is you respond to a situation at the earliest, and resilience is you show your capability to withstand any obstructions in order to perform your duty in a more ethical way. Maxim of utilitarianism. This is one of the theory where the public services is generally guided, ethical theory, because we are always interested in greatest good for greatest number. And then is maxim of compassion. An administrator, without violating the prescribed laws and rules, would establish compassion for the poor, the disabled, and the weak, while using his discretion in making decisions. I have come to know in many cases, if you go into little detail, you will see that many in Orissa, in many places in India, are still deprived of a plain proper housing unit. And even though we have a system of Indira Awas Yojana, and one of the people with having 2-3 houses have Indira Awas Yojana. People with having nothing do not have Indira Awas Yojana because of the uncompassionate way people, the block officers, the Panchayat Samiti officers and village level worker and all, they are working. They are more politically motivated or socially motivated than as per rules they work. So that is where again a big challenge for public servant. Similar example can be, when you are working in a forest department. We all know what is happening to our environment by degradation of forest. But how many of the foresters really protect the forest? So that is another question. Similarly, when a forester also is in charge of wildlife, but every day we are hearing what is happening to elephants and other wildlife. So these are all areas of real concern, and public servants need to gear up. Maximum of national interest. We all know there is nothing to explain. Maximum of justice. Justice has to be for everyone equally. It should be given equally. And maximum of transparency. Maximum of integrity. Integrity is taking the same decisions every time this situation arises. You do not waver. You keep on taking the same decision under a specific conditions. You do not change your decision time and again. So with that, I think we have finished this year. Now, any questions on this?
No, sir.
And I think many of you are aware about this issue. And I will just try to tell you something about the.
Yes, sir. It's daily ongoing lifestyle.
And every one of us faces this issue.
Yeah.
You talk of electric bill, you talk of water supply, you talk of. Earlier, I don't know if any one of you are aware, there was a control, PDS, Public Distribution System Control Sub.
Yeah. It's
That
still
was
there.
every day it was an issue. Every time you have to run here and there, and we know that every control sub owner was very unethical. They used
Sir,
to make,
revenue department is the most, I think, the most corrupted system.
when you are thinking of corruption, it is very difficult to rate them even. Because
All department, I think all departments are doing that.
depending on your requirement, depending on your interaction, you will find that everywhere there is ଯୋଉଠି ହାତ ଦେବେ ସେଠି ଗୋଟେ ମାନେ ସେଟା ଛିଣ୍ଡି ଯିବ ବା ପଚିଗଲା ପରି ହୁଏ ବୋଲି କହନ୍ତି ସେମିତି ସେଇ ଟାଇପର ଅବସ୍ଥା କ୍ୟାନ୍ସର it is like cancer. Only thing is there are certain departments, if you pay them bribe, your work will be done in a systematic and timely way.
Yeah.
Like RTO and all. You pay a particular amount to the agent, and now things will be done. Government took a bold decision of saying that we will remove any agent from RTO, but we all are facing that same issue.
सर बस वही भुवनेश्वर आरटीओ से बाहर से ही निकाल दिए, बस उसके आसपास तो ऐसे ही घूम रहे हैं अभी भी.
Yes. And that is way. But in what Pravir said about revenue department, that is true. Even if you pay something, you do not know. But Pravir, I don't know if you have recently visited anywhere when the things are getting streamlined, and if you do a land registration today, within 7 days you will find your name reflecting, the mutation will be done.
I know, sir. The paperwork is going very smoothly and timely manner. Patta and all these details will be arrived soon. But the process of transfer or sale is very difficult without bribing them.
But transfer and sale, you don't have to bribe. You have to pay the lawyer. Generally, there is, if your papers are all right, transfer and sale also are very smooth nowadays. So
that's the actual problem. The peoples are not having the proper papers of proper documentation.
Because
you can sell or you can buy if the proper documentation is not there. But they are saying this clause is added, this clause is added. You cannot sell, you cannot buy. They will add things. But if you chhadi diyo to kete kono. ठीक है, we'll do it. Like this, I am saying this one, sir.
But generally, things are, they have improved. What was earlier, 10 years back, after Bhulek and Bhunaksa and all, things have improved. But there was so much confusion in places, earlier on. And it is a mammoth task. I just, corruption, I agree. But the task also was very mammoth, and, the facilities available in earlier days was also difficult.
Sir, things are improved and getting improving now. The previous previous situation was very worse. I want to say this.
So that is what is, and in many places now, suppose like you are working, your electricity consumption, I don't know but after the Tata Power took over, some things have improved, some things have gone down. But at least a semblance of order is there now. Similarly, water also they are trying to outsource and give it to someone so that water supply also becomes streamlined. Public service, this you will see the difficulty in handling waste management, urban waste management. Government is trying, but again, because of lack of sincerity, I feel this issue is getting not solved for quite a long
Sir,
time.
sir, can we say that privatization will mean stop corruption?
Not necessarily true, because
Yeah.
we people are still more. As I said, most of us are. If you really strictly examine, you will find that most of us are corrupt to some extent, so this way or that way.
Sir, because in RTO earlier, when the officials used to do the driving test and all, now after this new amendment, they have given it completely to the private sector. The driving license test, you have to get it done at the registered driving school, which is a private entity. So we are going more into privatization, which was earlier government used to do.
We are going into privatization. There are many reasons for that. It is not only corruption, but whether corruption will really decrease because of privatization, that is yet to be seen. I'm not very sure. Because when you are outsourcing a test to a private agency, unless the superior, the controlling department is ethical.
Not authorizing them
No.
till that time.
No, like the visa applications to European countries and American countries, the collection of visa, checking of visa is done by private agency, VFS or
Yeah.
BS, someone. But the
Right, sir.
ultimate issuing authority is with the consulate or embassy. And so where, they do it as per the rules of their country. So the private agency has very little role to play. But in cases like, similar example is after TCS took over passport issuance and all has become very streamlined, and it is not very difficult now to get a passport. Earlier, big tension. But what I am saying is, suppose RTO office behind the private operator who is there, if they are still bent upon earning something from these practices, then the private also will make money, because why should he bother much? And he will take money from people and pass on something and keep something. So there is no way we can improve unless our as a society we improve or become more ethical. So that is the thing.
Sir, I have a question. Sir, good morning, Prabhanjan here.
Yeah, good morning.
Sir, my question is why government agencies are failed to compete with the private organization in same sector like BSNL, Air India, and other hospital services, which are less comfortable and value for money in case of private organization. In comparison with private organizations, like in telecom sector, Jio, Airtel, they are provide better service than BSNL, and in government hospitals also.
You are asking a question or you are trying to answer?
Now, my question is, what is your view on this? Why I mean, any private organization don't have more money than government.
No. It is no way money. It is only the attitude. You all know what happens when government is working in a company. You all know what happens when a government is in business. The issue is, if people work the way they work in private sector, because there is a boss, there is a controlling access, there is a fear. But in public sector, there is no fear. I for sure, I've seen many companies, many public sector companies. See, when public sector concept came to India, there was no way a private player could build those huge infrastructure. There was no way. No private player was possible except for Tisco. Nobody was ready to even put up a steel plant unless government would have put up steel plant. We would have taken years to have at least some production steel capacity. Aluminium, nobody was ready except Hindalco. There was only one plant. No company was ready to bring in aluminium. Power plant, some people came, but at a later date. So when government started doing this was the compulsion on the part of government was to do all this. There was no other way. Now the whole issue is, operating a government company, you have to go through rules. And I have seen people working in public sector, at least where I have worked around 20 years. They do not take any initiative. They are least bothered. They only are happy with their salary. They come and enjoy and go. They are in any way, they do not have any moral motivation inside to work hard to achieve something. I have seen that, and I really am pained to see that. I have seen a lot of directors, I have seen a lot of CMDs. They don't bother
I think this is an issue of leadership
it is
of
not
a
an issue of
particular
leadership.
organization.
It is a personal issue where people are corrupt. At least intellectually they are corrupt. Value-wise they are corrupt. If not, they are taking money, but they are not interested in working. That is my view.
No, I think the topmost officials of a organization, if they
It all depends. It
put
all depends. It all depends. You can't always blame the top. There is a saying that you get a leader whom you deserve. The way you are, your leaders will be like that. You can't expect to be out of the world leader if you are ordinary people. Don't expect that. I agree that some leaders can make change, but leadership again is from the people, the lot which is working there. And it is very difficult. When I interact with government officials even today, like agencies like IPCO, LIDCO, their tendency is very sluggish. They do not even bother to look at things in a different angle. They are only happy getting their salary, enjoying whatever they want to do. So the failure is because of the people and the type we run. You have seen government doing that way. Our government, now we are in 75 years and some.
I think this is the reason why government is more privatizing the government
There are so many
organizations.
reasons. This can be one reason. Because government is now, there is no way you can sustain the losses. So you have to sell them off. But again, selling is whether we are selling them properly or not, that has to be decided, that is to be seen. There are so many issues. But don't forget that there have been private companies in India who have also performed very badly. One very beautiful example is Orissa Sponge of Orissa itself. It is by a Odia person. He is a great scientist. He has copyrights. He has patents for sponge iron making. But that company was ruined by themselves, by the owner itself.
Sir, yes, it is Orissa Sponge Iron
I
Limited.
think the business may be flop, but their intention is not to make it a loss-making company.
Do you know about
May
that?
they have taken some bad decisions?
But do you know about their company?
No, sir.
So don't speculate. It was killed by them deliberately. They didn't want. I think the family which was owning that, they are still in Calcutta. They are selling their property, enjoying money, but they deliberately ruined that company. Otherwise, Orissa Sponge would have been a very great company in Orissa itself. Something at least like IMFA. Now even IMFA, I have not seen them trying to grow out of their whatever size they have made for themselves. Nowadays, seems no motivation to.
I think Vedanta is one good company of Orissa.
Vedanta is a private company. It is a different company. I am talking of examples of Orissa company. Vedanta is growing, but again, how ethical they are, that is, you must, in some cases, it has to be seen.
सर मैं वेदांत लिमिटेड से हूँ सर.
हाँ, मैं वेदांत के बारे में बहुत जानता हूँ. मेरे बहुत दोस्त लोग हैं. आप हैं, ठीक है, बट मेरे को पता है, many things I have known about them.
और सर ओरिसा स्पॉन्ज आयरन लिमिटेड के बारे में सर बहुत सारा कुछ मतलब पता है. मतलब घर मेरा उधर ही है, उसके पास ही.
Sir, yesterday you told that today you are going to give some brief idea about the questions.
So you are more interested in questions rather than any discussion. Okay.
Not like that. Not like that. But it's only 7 minutes we have.
Okay. So I don't know if this is what will be your question, but the pattern is like something like you have to. There will be section A, B, C, whatever has been asked by department DDC. I'm just telling you. Section A, there will be 3 questions with 700 to 1000 words. Then there will be another section B, another 3 questions of 500 words, and last is around 2 questions of 300 words. You have to answer 3, 3, 2. So you have to answer around 8 questions. And first lot A will have 12 marks, second is 8 marks, and last is 5 marks. The questions are from all the parts which we have covered. Okay. So all volumes, like, you have to, it can be even, it can range from normal definition but to points. See, the questions are basically from 5 modules which I have told, and at least the headings, if you remember the headings, you will find the questions are familiar. So there is nothing from outside, so don't worry about that. If you go through and elaborate on what I have given you, because this is an online course, I have limited time, so I have not given you much material, but whatever I have given are indicative materials. If you expand on that, you will be able to do it. Like, you will have all the things which you have read. So this is the pattern of things. So concentrate on the materials I have given. Try to elaborate wherever you can do. And this is all only theoretical questions. You have to write long answer. Don't expect me to tell you questions. And you know the areas. Whatever 5 modules we have, it will be like that. And
There are some possible questions.
See, I have already given the questions. So if I give you some possible question, that will be the question. So I don't want to get into that. We are at least reading business ethics. So be ethical to what we are doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. But I have told you, mota moti yahi hai, whatever 5 modules I have given, things are from there. Whatever areas is mentioned, like the headings and all, it will be there. Like, we have read about Aurobindo, Swami Vivekananda, and even Ramayana, Mahabharata, Mahatma Gandhi. We have read about difference between moral and ethics. We have read about IT, ethics in IT, then all issues, HR, all whatever is coming, it is there. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So nothing much. All are. If but I'm not sure whether this is your
Sir,
question.
are you have any subject in your second semester?
I don't know if your department or DDC will decide whether I'm a teacher or not.
I will request them to for you, sir.
Anyway, no issue. If they ask me to take, I may take. I take around, in business ethics and corporate governance. So maybe next semester you may have corporate governance. So if they ask me, I can take. Let us see. Don't worry. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Have a
Thank
good day.
Thank you, sir.
I will send this module 5 to Rashmi madam. I think she will circulate. All of you have got the up to 4 modules you have got?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.